In order to understand how to establish your canvas size in Photoshop, we need some dimensions. So for this specific project, we are going to open our template. We know that this is our current project, so we are going to use it. We have our rulers turned on, so we know the dimensions of our project. You guys have asked me, how do I know how big to make my artwork? One of the easiest ways to tell is to make a box over that image. And if you look, it says width times height. We have basically about a 4-inch wide box by a 5-inch tall box. So we know that that area has to be those dimensions. We also need to add bleed. Okay, so knowing this, we have 4 by 5. Take note of that. And we're going to make a new file. File, new, we're starting from scratch. We need to make the file 4 inches wide plus 5 inches tall. But wait a second, that's going to be the exact size. You always want a 1/4 inch of bleed or extra room off your canvas so you don't have to cut a clean edge. 1/4 inch times right and left is a 1/2 inch. 1/4 inch times top and bottom is a 1/2 inch. So that would mean it has to be 4.5 by 5.5. You want to make sure your resolution is 300 dpi. That is minimum requirement for Photoshop. You also want to make sure it is a CMYK file. This is all information done at the beginning of creating a file. And then you hit create. And then you realize that your file is not right. So we do a new one. You can see right there, it comes right back up with the same dimensions. I made a mistake, and it should say 4.5. Everything else stays. There's my canvas. Now, Photoshop is not like Illustrator or InDesign. It is not about trim and bleed and all those dimensions. Photoshop's not a layout program. So what I like to do is drag some guides into my design, my layout, my canvas. I use my rulers, Command R. Make sure they're on inches. That's a guide. You pull them from the side rulers. I'm going to put another one over here at 4.5. 4.25, sorry. Going to come down to a 1/4 inch. I'm going to come down to 5.25. So, those guides now represent the exact size of the box in your template right here. Now I can fill this so we can see. Let's fill it with black. There's your black box. 4 by 5. Here is your box. 4 by 5 with a 1/2 inch bleed. Make sure all artwork, Command all, fill, fills the whole canvas. Do not cut an image short if it's a Photoshop image file. You need the extra room for bleed. And that's it, folks. That will start you on your journey. From there, you can apply through your use of layers and tools any image, any painting, any effect that you would like. You will now save this file for production. First, very important, save as in your Google Drive. a layered PSD with all the information. Do not flatten your file because you can't go backwards once you save it. So save it on your computer. I'm just going to throw it on my desktop. Make sure you check the file extension. It needs to be on Photoshop. It preserves your layers. And then hit File, Save. That's your working file. Number 2, File, Save As. We are going to select this option here, TIFF, T-I-F-F. And I don't remember, but I can look it up for you. It's a crazy file format. It's international file format from someplace with a T. We'll talk about that later. It's going to make a copy of your file identical. But when you hit save, it gives you some options. The first set of options we don't need to worry about. There you go. It's a TIFF. If it didn't ask you to flatten it, go into your layers. This has now 7 layers. You have to flatten the artwork. You must flatten your artwork when you save this TIFF file for production. Layout programs like InDesign do not want to see your layered PSD files. They work, but things can get messed up. Make yourself a flat image file. Save, replace if you're covering over one. There's your TIFF options again, and there you have it. So remember, overview, Photoshop, dimensions, plus bleed. Make sure you have a CMYK file, 300 DPI. When you're done your creation, your 47 layer PSD, save it as such. Do not mess up your artwork. But then flatten, save a copy as a flat TIFF. And then you can import that into your layout program. And that is all, folks. Have a great day.